We're in the test kitchen at Certified Angus Beef. Is it more comfortable when you lean like this?
I'm a leaner.
You're a leaner?
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like doing this.
Right.
Sometimes it's just awkward at first, but we'll get it rolling. Hey, welcome to the test kitchen at Certified Angus Beef. This is the first of the year, our beef cook-along. So we're hoping that we can really engage everyone in a recipe that you follow along and cook at home. That's the whole idea behind the cook-alongs. First Monday of every month, we're going to be doing cook-alongs with a very specific recipe that'll help you learn about Certified Angus Beef, learn about techniques. The third Monday, we're going to have technique discussion. So that's our idea behind the test kitchen and what we do with our Facebook Lives. Really, above all, let's get engaged. So now's the opportunity to ask those questions as it pops into your head about what we're doing here in the kitchen. And we'll try to answer those questions live with you now and continue the dialogue with you as the week progresses. So we've got Valentine's Day coming along, right? So with me, as always, is the esteemed test kitchen manager of Certified Angus Beef, Gavin Pinto.
Hey, everybody.
What recipe should we do that maybe is a good Valentine's technique, a technique someone can do, but a good recipe that they could perform at home?
So today we're going to do some sautéed beef medallions with a red wine and pearl onion sauce. Really simple, classic style recipe.
I like it. I like it. So classic technique, which is what?
Searing, sautéing.
Searing, sautéing, right? So we're going to sear meat in a pan. We're going to start with quality meat. We're going to sear it. We're going to add some flavor to it, and we're going to plate it. That's pretty much as simple as it gets, right? So as people are joining us, let's refresh your memory. We're going to do hashtag beef cook-along for the recipe we do. We're hoping that you can post all of those posts with that hashtag. That way we can look them up. Gavin and I will be looking as you create this recipe, right? We're going to be looking for, at our Instagrams personally, we're going to be looking to see, hey, who's got great photos? We'll interact with you, we'll talk technique, and we'll see how this goes along. So perfect recipe for Valentine's Day coming up. What do you do with your wife for Valentine's Day? What does she want?
So we actually don't do much because my son was born on the 13th of February. So so a little more focus on him, and then by the time Valentine's Day hits, we're pretty wiped out anyways.
Gotcha. So it's like a celebration for your son. So it's the postlude of that, right? So Valentine's Day is just recovering from the party you had.
Yeah, with a bunch of 6 and 7 year olds running around. So
yeah, I think for me the Valentine's Day with my wife is just is if you don't have chocolate or a card, you're in big trouble. So for me, I just have to have chocolate for her on Valentine's Day. But when you can prepare a great meal for the one you love, it makes Valentine's Day fantastic. So let's go ahead and get into this recipe. Let's bring the camera over here so we can talk a little bit on paper what our plan is again. Hashtag beef cook-along, and we're going to talk about sauté. We're going to get a little Frenchy here, all right? Do you have your mise en place, Gavin?
that would be in this general vicinity here.
Okay, and what does this mean? What does mise en place mean? Let's do French lesson 101.
So mise en place is everything in its place, right?
Everything in its place, right?
So we have all the necessary ingredients ready to create this recipe, measured out, set aside, ready to go, so that you're not wasting any time trying to decide where your tomato paste is, how much you need, what happened to that bottle of wine, did I drink it, where'd it go? So we have everything set up, ready to go, measured out to make the sauce, and then our steaks are pre-cut, and all we gotta do is season them.
And again, the recipe is sautéed beef medallions. So we're gonna do sautéed medallions, and we're gonna have a red wine sauce. So when you're searching on our website, look for sautéed medallions and you'll find our recipe. Sautéed beef medallions with red wine and pearl onion. Let's get it going. Let's talk about the beef itself, all right? So we'll go to the raw cutting board.
So here we have our sirloin medallions. So they're all about 2-3 ounces each, nice small size medallions so you can fit more in the pan without overcrowding it. And we've got some cracked pepper, some kosher salt. Just give it a little sprinkle of salt and pepper. Get it all seasoned up. Flip. And in the recipe it has patty medallions dry. We already did this before pulling them out, so you don't have to worry about that. And then we're just going to go into this Le Creuset pan which is just big enough to fit these, but not too big where you're gonna have a lot of extra room in the pan, and not too small where you're gonna overcrowd the pan and then you're not gonna get the high heat that you want. So here, set out this lid, it'll be
I
functional.
had a quick question. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
I want to go back to the beef real quick and how we source that. The medallions that you got can be, our recipe says bottom sirloin, right? And so that'd be from the ball tip.
Correct.
Okay. Or it could be from the center of the top sirloin, right?
Right.
Okay. So if you can't find bottom sirloin, use top sirloin. Okay. Cutting this size medallion, that's kind of the takeaway. I'm gonna put on a little noise. We'll see how this goes. If you can't hear us, we'll take the hood mat back off. But for now, I want to pull that moisture out. Can you see in there? Can you see in the Oh yeah.
So here's where you're building that nice crust on your steak, which is where a lot of the flavor comes from. Getting that nice browning on the steak to enhance the flavor. The Maillard reaction, as we had discussed before.
Oh, that sounds like a big word. So, Maillard, I'm gonna write that up. Is that like a duck sauce?
That would be Maillard.
Okay, Maillard reaction. So that's browning, right? If you don't want to cut these medallions yourself, your butcher can do it. 2 to 3 ounces is the ideal size. So that was a good question from Renee. Oh yeah. Okay. So this is the point when you want to flip it. The point where it no longer tugs on the pan, right?
Right. Got a nice crust, nice browning.
So if you do sautéing properly, okay, so sauté is a French word that literally means to jump. So your pan should be that hot. Like the meat is going to jump out of the pan because it's so darn hot. And you can see if you pull and it still tugs, your pan's not hot enough, or you just haven't gone far enough on a browning. So that's an ideal amount of browning. Good job, Cap. Looks good. Let's see, who else has some engagement we want to talk about? I'm hoping you can ask a bunch of good questions. Yeah, it doesn't take long. You're right. Good point. And then once you have it developed on each side, what are you going to do?
So once we get the browning on each side, we've got a large portion of your cooking done. We're going to remove these, set them aside, and we're going to start building our sauce. So by setting these aside, we'll kind of delay the finished cooked product, build our sauce, return them to the pan, and then pull them off the heat just to let them finish cooking through. That'll give it that nice kind of carryover cooking that you're looking for, but they'll also be kind of sitting in that sauce the whole time. So, and they really only take a couple minutes on each side. So here we're going right to the lid of this pan.
That's a pretty cool design. We didn't really talk about the pan itself, did we? Like what kind of pan to use?
Right, this is it's a Le Creuset.
Yeah, so we prefer this pan. We like it a lot. The idea is it's an aluminum clad pan. It's got an aluminum core in it so it can really hold the heat. I probably wouldn't use a cast iron pan in this case. I'd use something like this Le Creuset stainless steel, because what it can do is hold the heat and also sear well, but the lid has a fantastic design. It's amazing because the lid, you can see you can hold it on its backside, right? Some of them, if it's just got the handle like this, it'll just fall over. I like that part of the design. Also, the lid is tight fitting, but still has a steam escape that we'll show you later too. So Le Creuset stainless steel pan is a favorite for this particular dish. Oh good, so you've got some brownie toast.
Yeah, so these are searing up pretty nicely. Again, give them a quick saute just to develop some flavor on the outside, caramelize some of those sugars that happen with the onions there. And then now, that they do have a nice little bit of browning on, we're going to go in with the red wine. So the reason is going to...
Someone asked about why I say not use a cast iron, because I don't typically build a sauce in a cast iron pan.
Right.
Right?
I feel like a lot of that seasoning and that cast iron and the sauce, like you kind of don't want to mix those two.
You want to keep kind of that grease layer on there, right?
Right.
And so when you deglaze, you're taking away, using water moisture, you're pulling away that layer. So that's why I wouldn't deglaze a cast iron pan. It's great for frying. In fact, that's a good point, because next time during our technique video, That's exactly what we're going to do, is talk all about cast iron pans. And we're going to use, what are we going to do in our next recipe?
We're going to practice on some chicken fried steak and how to pan fry in a cast iron.
Country fried, chicken fried, cast iron. We're going to talk the whole thing on our technique video in 2 weeks. So we'll get to that point.
So here, we add the wine first to do a little deglazing of where those steaks were hidden. Now that liquid will help bring up the brown bits on the bottom, or as they say in French, fond. Right? So we're trying to get all that deglazed, get all the bits off the bottom, release that fond. And also we're hitting it with the wine first, so that by using the wine to deglaze, you're cooking a lot of that abrasive alcohol out of the wine, and then we're going to add the rest of the ingredients and let it cook down and let the sauce thicken. So now the wine's reduced by about half, not much left. Go in with the beef stock. Kick that heat back up a little more now. And then we've got tomato paste, which is our thickening agent in this recipe. And then some thyme.
What else is that tomato paste going to do? I mean, beyond thickening, I imagine it's going to kind of round out that wine.
Right, it's going to add some flavors, richness, because tomato paste is very concentrated tomato. It's not like tomato sauce.
So then do you need to bring that back to a boil?
Yeah, I just want to bring it to a simmer. Make sure everything's kind of well mixed. You want that tomato sauce well dissolved, and then you can, once it's all mixed together, once it's simmering, then we'll put these medallions back in there, pull it off the heat, and just let them rest to cook through. So I just want to make sure that tomato paste is kind of...
Oh, I was thinking you might need a whisk, but you know what? Once that simmering starts, boom, that tomato paste is all kind of dissipated throughout. It really rounds it out.
I try to dirty as few dishes as possible.
I hear you.
Alright, there we go. So now it's all dissolved in there. You got a nice simmer on that. I'll just kill the heat. Return these guys right into this sauce.
And so, killing the heat, you said? Why do you want to end that?
But we don't want to overcook it at this point.
Okay, so you no longer want to simmer.
Right,
You just want the okay.
So we got the residual heat. Lid goes on. Steaks are in. Now we just let them sit for a couple minutes to finish cooking through.
Gotcha. So this recipe is just that simple. And what I like about it is you dirtied. I mean, heck, you didn't really need to use this for tomato paste, right? You could have scooped some right out of the can. The pearl onions from a frozen bag, you could have poured that right from the bag and guessed on the amount, right?
Right.
And you just dirtied the sauté pan. I think that's great. It's easy cleanup, because what you want to do quickly is kind of get to the dinner, right? You want to be able to eat, right? So it's just about 5 minutes is all it's going to take. And I think it's really important point to say that those medallions are getting a nice gentle cook to finish them to the perfect doneness right now. If we would keep sautéing really hard, that's what sautéing is, like really hot heat the whole time, we'd make it the medallions really tough, all right? So it wouldn't be as tender and juicy. What you can do is, when you saute, oftentimes when it's a large medallion, is you saute it and then maybe put it on a separate pan or in the same pan, and you put it in the oven, right? So the oven will continue to cook it, right? But be careful that it's nice and gentle on its ride to the perfect doneness. And that kind of varies for people, right? The perfect doneness.
Right.
For us, it's medium rare, medium. For some people, it's more. So if it is more, go ahead and increase the heat. Just be close on the simmer rather than being on the boil, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If you want it more done, just go a little further. What else we didn't talk about on this recipe? Because I think we've kind of covered it pretty well in the sautéing in general.
Right, and we're just kind of creating that classic pan sauce. It's very French technique, is you sear your steaks, pull them out, and then just build your sauce right in that same pan. You're releasing all the flavor at the bottom of the pan. You're using that same pan to build your sauce, and that way you're, again, not dirtying up dishes, but it's just kind of a classic way of doing it and bringing everything together, getting a nice flavor, building the flavor from the beginning of searing the steaks all the way through to finishing your sauce.
Gavin, what if someone doesn't want wine? They don't drink wine, they don't want that in their sauce. Is there an alternative? Is there something else they could do?
Yeah, I mean, really, you can use just some beef stock and tomato paste, something like that. If you could find demi-glace, you could do super fresh or something like that. You could alter these recipes if you don't want to use wine. You're just trying to build flavors. So the wine has just got the nice, it's acidity, it's got a little fruitiness to it, you know, so there's complexity there. But you can always sub out. You just wouldn't want to sub out something that's too sweet or too sugary. You know, you want to keep that savory flavor.
And then, if the alcohol is being cooked off in that sauce anyway, so you're not going to have the alcohol in it if that's your concern with the wine, right? What about how expensive of a bottle of wine should I buy for the cooking part?
I mean, personally, there's two ways to look at it. One is you don't want to take a wine that's super cheap and reduce it because you're enhancing cheap wine by that much more. So you're really going to taste, if it's really cheap wine, you're going to taste the cheapness a little bit stronger.
Right.
But you don't need to buy a super expensive bottle either. So if you wouldn't drink it, I wouldn't cook with it. But you don't have to use your best bottle of wine to cook with either. I usually use a fairly inexpensive bottle of wine, but something that I think tastes fine on its own.
Something you would drink, right? Let's get this vent off again. And we'll say that it's been about 5 minutes, all right? Let's just say it's been about 5 minutes. And let's go ahead and plate this. And we can show people what maybe a plate presentation ideal for the Valentine's duo.
Yep. So we'll just go ahead and
let you go this way.
Bring it on over here. So
remember, #BeefCookAlong. We'd love it if you posted what you are creating. If you create this recipe, we hope you do. Let's get a money shot of that. Yes.
So there is the finished product with the sauce. So we'll get a couple of the steaks in there.
That looks delicious.
You got this nice sauce. You could take one of these.
Oh, that's nice thickness.
Right.
And good consistency, right? So thick enough that it's not just that watery liquid. It's got some consistency and substance to it. Oh
yeah.
My gosh, that looks so good.
You want some viscosity, but you don't want it to be...
Viscosity, that's the word I was looking for. Thickness in the sauce. Viscosity. Pearl onions could be on the side, they could be on top. This is your plate presentation, so we'd love to see how you would plate this dish. And then the thyme itself, what do you think? Put that sprig right on too? I would.
Right.
That'd be me, but you don't have to.
This guy didn't separate, so we only have the one.
You could just leave that on top of one. It'd be beautiful. Great presentation. I think that's the money shot. Well, you made some fancy potatoes too.
Yeah, so we just did a little gratin.
No big deal. Just made a gratin.
You know. It's cold. It's February. Why not have some potatoes to go with your salad or your steak instead of a salad or something like that? You know.
Salad makes me feel cold.
Right. In the summertime, salad. Wintertime, everybody your body just wants potatoes.
Yeah. Right? But if you're in the low carb thing, the paleo, whatever you want to call it, and you want to do some greens, go for it. I'm not dissing the idea of a salad with this because it would go well.
Right. There's chives on there.
It's just cold out. It's snowy here in Ohio. That's the thing. You know what we should do?
What's
Let's probably eat this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here you go. Cheers. Certified Angus beef. #BeefCookAlong. Is that what it? Beef Cook-Along? Look at, right? Everyone's yes. Beef Cook-Along. You can go to Beef Cook-Along. Go to certifiedangusbeef.com for the recipe. Again, we did the sautéed medallions. We talked about some French words. Maillard reaction, fawn, mise en place. But again, keep the interaction going all week with us. We can't wait to see what you post when you do this recipe and continue with the comments with you. As always, we appreciate having you in our test kitchen and can't wait to do more in 2018 with you, especially with our next one coming up, Gavin. What is it? What is it again? What are we doing in 2 weeks?
Cast iron frying.
Cast iron and frying. All right, we need some good old boy outfits. Let's wear some. We have to think about how we can go really Western with our look next week, right? Or in 2 weeks. Sound good? Chaps? Game on. Looking forward to it. Thanks again.